Good morning everybody, welcome back to Bumble Stitches Vlogmas. My name is Nicola and it's lovely to be sharing Vlogmas with you all. Today is Tuesday, 8th of December, and it's a special day in the family because we have a family birthday, and I know that she's been watching the Vlogmas, so I want to wish happy birthday to my auntie Tina. She's my mum's sister and yes, it's her birthday today, so have a lovely birthday, Tina. Right, lots of questions and comments about yesterday's vlog. Mum and I had such a lovely day out. We were only out for a couple of hours because it did start getting really foggy. The weather was getting pretty nasty, and I had a long drive back, so we didn't want to leave it too long. But we had a lovely wander around the garden, as you saw. Had a little bite to eat for lunch and went into the shop there. Mum bought a poinsettia. I didn't get one. I quite fancied a red one or a pink one, and they only had the red ones in sort of baskets as double plants, which wasn't what I was looking for, but not to worry. Mum got a lovely one. You'll see I was looking at a couple of ornaments and I did decide on one. I'll show it to you now. And it was the bee. How could I not? So pretty. This is made of glass, so I shall need to be careful with it. And yeah, I thought it was quite appropriate. Obviously my channel's called Bumble Stitches. The reason why my channel is called Bumble Stitches is when I very first started my YouTube channel, I wanted something that would, at the beginning it was primarily knitting, but I wanted something that could encompass all the crafts that I love doing. So knitting, sewing, embroidery, cross stitching, all those things. I thought if stitches is in it, then it pretty much covers everything. And the Bumble is, that's my Justin's pet name for me. He calls me Bumble, so Bumble Stitches it was. So I picked that little ornament up, which I shall pop back on the tree a bit later. I'm wearing one of my Christmas tops today, as you can see, feeling quite festive. I did pick up just a small thing in the shop yesterday, just these chocolates to go with Justin's dad's Christmas pressie. In a really nice tin though. He loves dark chocolate and ginger, and I know he doesn't watch YouTube, so I'm safe to share these, won't spoil the surprise. So they'll go in with his prezzies. And of course Jessie, what can I say? She is such a little poppet, she really is. Everybody loves Jessie and Jessie loves everybody, it would seem. So thank you for all your sweet comments about her. Yeah, Mum will be thrilled because, yeah, Jessie is just Mum's special little girl, she really is. I had a couple of questions as well that I'll just cover before I move on to today's Advent. One of which, I got a couple of questions actually about this quilt here. Just scooch over a bit. This quilt I made back in July. There is a lot of information about it on my quilting video, which if I remember I will link down below, but if not, just look back on my channel through the videos and you'll see one that's just called quilting, and I talk about it in detail there. But in the meantime, it is from this book, Charm Square, by Vanessa Gertson of Lella Boutique. And the pattern is this one here, Snowfall. So if you're interested in that, that's where you can find the pattern for this quilt. I also had a question about the photograph that I use at the beginning of all these videos as a thumbnail on YouTube. Somebody asked, was it a quilt underneath the cake stand that I've got on that photograph? And no, it isn't a quilt, but it is quilted. It's a table topper that I made recently, very recently, just a couple of weeks ago, as part of my Journey to Nebula series of tutorials that I'm following in preparation for making that quilt next year. So you can see it's all diamond shapes pieced together, and then I'm particularly proud because I hand quilted this, I didn't hand quilt it, I machine quilted this myself. I sort of free motioned and made this, yeah, to go on my table, and I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. So it's just plain white on the back. You can see a bit more of the quilting actually on the back. Yeah, so I'm really pleased with how that turned out. So that's what's used underneath that, the little props for that photograph. And again, if you're interested, the pattern is this. It's called Rock Candy. It's just a mini pattern. It's quite inexpensive to buy, and it's by J Bird Quilts. If you do have any questions for me, please do put them down below, and perhaps a bit later on through Vlogmas I'll do a Q&A episode and just answer all your questions, obviously within reason. Somebody did ask how old Mum was yesterday, and I shall choose not to answer that, because I don't think Mum would be very happy if I was telling everyone on YouTube her age, so I'll politely decline to answer that one. Okay, so shall we have a look at today's advent? It's a stitchery one, day 8, and it's quite thin. Quite intrigued as to what this might be. The birds are actually going bonkers out there today. I mentioned this yesterday, and I did try to film them, and I set the camera up while I was getting ready, left it in the garden on the tripod for a good 15 minutes, and there was not one bird. They must have known, they must have realised that the camera was there, spying on them. But this morning they're all back. Even the squirrel's been out there trying to eat the bird food as well. So there you go, animals. Okay, so this is a American folk art wreath embroidery template. Again, on the lovely linen. And I'm not really sure. It says on the back, I won't read it all obviously, it says this lovely traditional folk art image was taken from a quilt made in Maryland in 1840 and is copyright free. Printed onto a small square of antique linen, the design should fit perfectly into a 4-inch hoop. Fab, that will look pretty, won't it, in a 4-inch hoop, and make a nice little sort of ornament. I guess you could do it Christmas Eve and if you wanted to, or just any time of year. So that's today's little advent from the stitchery. I've got a few things to do this morning. I've got to pop out and run a couple of errands, and then I'm going to collect somebody who's spending the afternoon with me, and that's Milo. So Milo is my daughter Lulu's dog, and I'm going to go and pick him up because he likes to come and spend some fun time with us here. And it helps Lulu out because she's at work, so it helps her out if we have him sometimes. So I've already got some chicken out of the freezer defrosting for him because he always gets spoilt rotten when he's here. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'll get him, and I'll try and get a bit of footage as we go through our day and share it all with you. But whatever you're up to today, have a good one, and I will catch up with you later.